to Just Crafting Around. My name is Kelly and I will be your host. Today what we are going to make is we are going to make somewhat of a wood calendar. What I wanted to do is I wanted to make something that will show everybody's birthdays. We have a small family, so with being a small family I can do different things than maybe what a bigger family can actually do. You can maybe put just dates on a card or dates on a tag or something like that, where I can actually put my favorite kids' pictures on there or my granddaughter's pictures, or I can kind of do basically what I want to, because there really is only one event, and that would be when my daughter's birthdays are. They're the same day, so that would be the only hitch that I would have. Other than that, everybody else's birthdays are of course different days. Weddings are different days, our anniversaries are different days, so I'm pretty lucky that way. What I did was, how I first got started is I looked on the internet to see what I could find. I didn't want something that was big, that was gaudy. I couldn't find what I wanted, so I decided to make my own. I found the size of wood that I really liked and that I wanted, which just so happened to already have the notch in it. It is a clear blonde color. It is the color like this. It's just the raw wood, and what I decided to do was I wanted to paint it. I wanted to distress it, but I'm not going to take and especially over this, because this is dark enough. The paint color is dark enough. I chose the gray color, and I painted it with the chalk paint, which is this color right here, and I waited for it to dry, and then I coated it the second time. I coated the sides a second time, the back once, and I coated the front a couple times. I let it dry really good in between. Then I took the sandpaper and I sanded down the edges, and I sanded down the corners that I wanted, and of course sanded the sides a little bit, just to give it a little bit of a worn character look. And again, this was exactly the size I was looking for. I found this at Hobby Lobby. It was $4.99. I had it on sale for 50% off, so to me that was a good buy. I then started looking for a saying. I didn't want to cover this whole thing and say birthdays, anniversaries. I didn't want something like that. So I found a saying that I really, really liked. It said, "Family dates to remember." It was simple enough and I loved it. What you can also do at Hobby Lobby is, I didn't know that they had the 8x10 or 8x11 sheets of paper, which I was really thrilled about. So I went on the computer and I found the font that I like, and I took it and I took the paper this size, which is the 8.5 by 11, and I just ran it through the printer. And then I decided what size that I wanted to use for this. I liked it. I like the kind of the paper that it is. I like antique-ish looking. I like stuff that's worn looking. So I decided what I'm going to do is I wanted to give this a little bit more character. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use these angles. I also found these at Hobby Lobby. They're all over any kind of a craft store. And I am going to hot glue them onto the wood here before I put my family dates to remember sign on here. What I'm going to do is I just want to frame this out a little bit. So let's do that. There's the different colors in here. I'm going to use, instead of the gold, I'm going to go with the silver, kind of the brush. It's not a bright silver look. Another reason why I like it, it's not a brightly silvered look. So I kind of went around, and I've already put on here the spacing that I'm going to need, which I have, and I'm just going to anchor them down with hot glue. And then once I've got those anchored in the way I want them, then I can put my sign in there. What I did was I took this first, I laid it exactly where I wanted it, and then I did the corners. So I marked off the corners on here, and then I knew that I could just take these and put them by the corners. And like I said, I'm going to hot glue. Be sure when you do the project, you look to see where this is at, because this is going to be the top and this is going to be the bottom. So here's the top right up here. Okay, so I'm going to take one of these at a time. See if the hot glue is ready to go. And it is, it's good and hot, so it's ready to go. I'm gonna put some hot glue on here. I'm gonna apply it to here. You don't have much time from the time that the glue is hot enough until the time that it sets. And you're gonna wanna push down on it. So know where you're going with it. Because like I said, you're not gonna have much time. So now here's the second one. I hate all the string from hot glue. I absolutely hate it. I like to put enough on there because I can clean it up once it's done. Once I've got it setting. Still wear it while it's warm though, I would clean it off. Because once it gets hard, it's a little bit harder sometimes to clean the stuff off. You don't want to start cleaning it off and get down too close because you want it to dry and adhere to the wood. So like I said, when you see places, just take your fingernail and kind of clean it up. There we go. And we are good to go with that. 2 more left. Hot glue and I have a love-hate relationship. I like it, but I hate it all at the same time because it burns your fingers if you're not careful. Wish they'd make some kind of glove that you can use for hot glue. Maybe I'll invent it. I always burn my fingers when I use this. Always. Okay, last one. Last but not least. Press down, and like I said, wait until they're, and again, it does not take long to set up. You'll be covering the inside of it with this here, so that I'm just more or less worried about getting it off the outside. Once you get it off the outside, or where you can see it real well, then you're ready to go. Now, I'm just going to put this in here and make sure that it's fitting good. Bring it off a little. Then before I actually do put it in here, I'm going to put a little bit of tape. I'm going to see if it stays in here nice. If it stays in here nicely, I won't need the tape. But if it doesn't, I may just put a little bit of tape on here. But this stays in pretty nice and looks pretty good. So I'm just going to keep it that way. I like how the corners like this frames it out. I think it gives it a little bit better look to it. Okay, so we're going to set this to the side. We're just going to let that cure. And what we're going to do now is, I have one made up. I want to show you how I made those. But what I did was I bought a pack of these. They already have a dot that is in the middle of the wood so that to drill, which is very nice. So bought a couple packs of those to use. Have everybody's birthdays listed. I do have Ashton's birthday right here, my granddaughter. What I did was I took a piece of scrapbooking paper that I really liked. I made a template on the internet about how far down I wanted to go, how far to the sides I wanted to go. And then when I made the template, I decided on what picture I wanted of her. This just so happens to be my favorite picture of her. I went and got an A because I figured every little girl needs some kind of bling. So her name is Ashton, so I went and purchased an A that has the bling in it already. And this is actually for jewelry, but you can use it for an embellishment. And I took some black cord and I corded it and I put it together like this. Now, how we're going to hang it from here, from the plaque itself, is we're going to use a little knob like this. And with this knob, you'll then be able to take this and hang it on the knob, and it'll hang down like this. So, I am going to show you how we came about to this. I decided on what pictures I wanted to use. I then went to Target because Target makes smaller pictures. You can get pictures that are this small where you get 9 of them on a page, or you can get the wallet size, which gives you 4 and gives you a little bit bigger. So you can see the difference here. For this project, with this size of wood that we're using, we needed the smaller pictures to be able to put on here. So that is what we're going to be doing today. So along with the pictures, once you decide what you want to put on there, the sky's the limit of what you can do. I don't want to use crafting paper behind here all the time. I want to use different things. I want to probably use fabric because you can get such very, very cute fabric. I am going to use some Wausau tape that I have that I absolutely love. This just so happens to be Ashton's favorite color now. First it was pink, and then the last time I called it was orange. Who knows what it'll be tomorrow. So I used the orange for hers. What I did was I took chalk paint like this because of course I like the matte, and then I painted the front and I painted the back and I painted the sides. The front I painted twice, the sides I painted once, and the back I painted once. Then what I did was I want to rough it up a little bit. So I am going to take a piece of sandpaper, or you can use a block of sandpaper. I also used an emery board, which is just so perfect to use in those tight spots.
As the demand for advanced broadband and cloud-based services continues to grow, so does our commitment to you, our members. We are committed to providing you with the newest technologies and fastest broadband speeds available anywhere. Watch for the exciting details on faster speeds and new broadband packages coming soon.
We're going to take a little piece of sandpaper and we're going to rough it up a bit. I want to rough up the sides. And when you sand, also sand on the top of it so that you get the look of this on the sides. Because if you just sand the sides, you're just sanding that, you're not getting part of the top of it. And I want the top as well. So we're going to sand that down. What takes the time when you're doing a project like this is the sanding and to get it the way you want it. There's times I will have sanded and I'm probably not paying as good of attention as of what I should be paying it to, and I've sanded it too much. Well, not a big deal. Just paint over it again. Wait till it dries and then go after it with sandpaper again. I do make mistakes during the time when I do these, but like I said, or I will find a color that I think looks absolutely perfect and I love it when I go through the store, and when I bring it home and it actually soaks into the wood, I seriously don't like it as much. So then I repaint over it. Not a big deal, just a little more time consuming than usual. I do sand the top a little bit because with this I'm going to use some stain. I don't want bright colors I want to be able to have color in it, but I also want to be able to use the stain and have the stain kind of take over the color a little bit. So what I'm going to do is be sure and wipe it off really good once you are done sanding, because if you don't wipe it off, you're going to have all those sand and color, like the color comes off pretty good, you're going to have a lot of that. So sand it. I even sand the back just a little bit so that you don't see my brush strokes so much. So sanding is done, and you can see the white parts here that are done. That's down to the actual color of the wood. So I've sanded down that far. And this is what it looked like before, and now you can see the colors around here have actually gotten down to the wood grain. Okay.
Get 3 months free access on all lines, plus a new 4G smartphone for only $4.99 a month. 2 great offers with Valley Cellular. Call Valley today at 437-2615 to take advantage of this great deal.
We are going to take our wood stain, which I always use dark walnut. Always use dark walnut. Started out with that, like it, going to continue to use it. So with the dark walnut, I'm going to open it up, grab a little piece of a rag here. Grab a couple gloves. I'm going to use one blue and one black. Woohoo! Shake things up a bit here. Okay, I'm going to open this up. And we are going to stain. When you're doing this and you've got your pictures and stuff, that's when I start going to the craft stores and I start looking what I want to use for an embellishment, if I want to put an embellishment on at all. You don't have to. You can do pretty much whatever you want. Don't have to put anything on it at all. You can just put the name on there. You don't even have to use a picture. Put the date of when that person was born, or anniversary date. You can put their name if you want, just the name, not a name at all. Totally your call. I can't remember just dates. I'm really bad with dates for some reason. And I don't have that big of a family, and dates are still hard for me to remember. Must be getting older than I think. Or feel some days, I guess. Okay, so we turn this from a bright yellow, which was somewhat like that, to this. We're going to let this dry a little bit. Be sure to tighten it down. Now we're going to decide what we're going to want to put on here. Like I said, I have some Wausau tape here that I absolutely love. You can get anything from owls for kids, which I'm going to use for Avery's birthday, to more Victorian looking tape, which I like. Here's another kind of a paisley black and white that I like. I did find this one that has stamps on it, and that is my all-time favorite. And what I'm going to do is I am going to use Lauren in my anniversary date in her picture. What I did find while I was looking around was a little ring, and I thought that was so cool. I love it. So that is what we're going to use for our embellishment. So, has a little nice hook on it already that we can take when we're using to put on there. I'm going to kind of see where I want this to go. And then I'm going to just use some tape. I'm going to put the Wausau tape on here. It's very hard sometimes. They have come out with, I noticed, a really nice dispenser that can hold up to, I think it's like 8 of them at one time, and I think that's really cool. That's something that I could use, because I do have a lot of this at home that I use for crafting, and I love it. Sometimes I end up wasting more than what I'm doing. And because this size is a little small, you don't have a whole lot of room to work with it. What I did was I wanted this tape, and I wrote our names, or I should say I printed it off on a piece of paper. Then I took the tape and I put it over the top and I printed it again. It didn't show up very good on this tape. So then what I did was I actually printed it on labels. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of cut around it a little bit, and then we're going to use the label part. So I'm going to cut some strips that I like of this tape. And we're going to put it on here. I'm just going to let it hang off a little bit. Nothing big, nothing fancy. Just kind of let it peel off the sides, just so that it gives it a little bit different look than always using the same. Let's just kind of change the look of it a little bit. I'm going to see what is next on here and see if it will give me a little bit more. This is US Airmail. I like that. I'm going to use that part of it. So I'm going to cut it off here, put it on the bottom, or closer to the bottom anyway. Again, just wrap it around the sides like this. I'm just going to take our picture, and nothing fancy, just going to take it and line it up in here. Decide where I want it to go. I'm going to take where it says Lauren and Kelly Branner. I'm going to take that, and I'm just going to kind of cut around it a little bit so that it doesn't have so much white on it. I have to, like I said, print it out on white paper, because that's the only way that it would show up decent while doing what I wanted to do here with this Wausau tape. I did try it in the different colors and stuff instead of black. I tried the white, I tried everything, and it didn't come out the way I wanted it to look. So I thought, well, I'll just make my own and see if it works out. If I don't like it, I can always change it up. You never have to stick with anything you don't like. This didn't turn out too bad, so I'll just paste it right there. Give it a try again. And then I'm just going to take some double stick tape, and I'm going to tape our picture right underneath that. So, stick tape right here. Should be just a little bit more organized today. And the double stick tape is in. And the picture is on. And now for our little ring. I'm going to hang it with this. Use anything that you want. Again, twine, doesn't matter. I'm going to try to make it about the same size as the other, is what we have here. Try to make them the same so they hang the same. Doesn't have to be. I like it to be at least close. And that looks about right. So let's go like that. And all you have to do is just continue. I'm going to put my little knot up here. And there you have Lauren and Kelly's anniversary date with a little ring on there. A little bit of Wausau tape, a little bit of paint. Now, we're not quite finished with this yet because we have to put a hook, and the hook has got to be somewhere. So I found the hook, but I couldn't find a long enough screw to use to go through here and go through there. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to hot glue it. Comes in twos. I got this on sale for $3. It comes in the clear and it comes in this color. I'm going to use the clear. I'm going to put it in the middle, and I am going to hot glue it on the paper. Always have to stand up and look at it and make sure it's how I want it, how far down it's going to go to hang. I want to look at that a little bit too. And I think that is a perfect spot for it. Just going to, I thought, you know, eyeball it a little bit. Boy, was I close. I'm really very happy about that, because I'm usually never that close. But by gosh and by golly, there we go. Okay, we're gonna hot glue this baby on here. Down, let it do its thing. And we could have another project done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take some tape. I'm going to put it in the inside here so that it holds the paper. Because now that we put the knob on there, it's a little bit heavy weighted for the paper. I want to make sure that it doesn't pull it down and off. And it should be just fine with that. Paper on each, or a little bit of tape on each end here. It's surprising how strong this double stick tape is. Once you get it on, I have a heck of a time getting it off of something. It seems to really hold good. And again, your preference on everything. It's what's nice about you doing the craft yourself. It's all about who you are, what you like, your colors, your tastes, your sayings, seriously it is. It's all about you. Whatever you like. Whatever makes you happy. Okay, we are going to go over and hang this up and take a look at it.
Valley Telecommunications, the home team advantage.
Okay, once our project is complete, what you can do is you hang them on here, and then you just put behind the ones, like when May is done, I will take that off and I will put it behind my next one. Or you can take it off and store it and just hang one at a time up if you wish. Again, it's all about what you like. I may just take them off and hang them up somewhere else and just put one at a time up here. That way it will hang nicer, looks better. And there you have it. Thank you for watching Just Crafting Around. If you would like to be a host on the show, please call Lisa or myself at 2615. And again, thank you for joining us.